Hello, everyone. So guess what? It's not about the virus we're in right now. It's not about the one we had last year, and it's not the one that's going to be coming. It's about, is your family ready? Is your family ready right now? Are they bulletproofed? And that's what we're going to talk about today on the show, because guess what? Seasonal allergies, colds, the flu, they swirl around us all the time. The real question is, right? How do you create a plan for your family? Because real health starts in the kitchen, and it starts in our gardens, and it starts in our healthy lifestyle. So today on the show, we're so excited. I'm just thrilled to have her come on the show. Is going to be Dawn Combs, and so I'm going to introduce her here in a second. My name, though, is Cheryl Bassett, and I'm founder of Unstoppable Connections, international bestseller, and creator of the award-winning Unstoppable Family Meeting Toolkit. So families do tap into something that got created out of my family's experience, which are called the 4 gifts. And those 4 gifts create an unshakable, unbreakable foundation of how families can connect and get stronger together and become a team. If you'd like to learn more about the 4 gifts and my work for connecting families, you can go to unstoppableconnections.com. And if you would like to be on the show, or you have an idea for the show, you can reach out and connect with me at kitchentableconversations.com. So what I want to do now is I want to set an intention for the show. And I do this for every show because I feel like it's just so important. But this show is designed to kind of cover the fun stuff to the tough stuff and everything in between. It's all important. And so what we do is designed to ignite conversations at your table, to strengthen your family, and to create a positive ripple in the world. We wrap the show with one of the gifts, which is the 4th gift, the gift of love. And how we unwrap that gift is by choosing to celebrate ourselves and others. So it's with that intent, with an open heart and an open mind, and a true celebration of the person who came today here to share with us their gifts, their talents, and their passion. And wait till you meet her, because she's so amazing at what she does. But let me, because I want to do it right, I'm going to just read a little bit of her background, and then I'm going to bring her on so you can all meet her. Dawn Combs is an ethnobotanist. Yep, we're going to talk about what that is. And functional foods expert. She is the author of books Sweet Remedies, Heal Local, and Conceiving Healthy Babies. As a national speaker, educator, wellness coach, and contributor for national magazines, she is known for her expertise in honey and plant-based sugars as a medium for medicine making. Dawn is the owner of internationally renowned Mockingbird Meadows Farm, a botanical sanctuary and teaching facility. She is the proprietor of the Soda Pharm, that's PHARM, Soda Pharm Café, and apothecary in Marysville, Ohio, where she creates her award-winning Mockingbird Meadows and Soda Pharm botanical wellness products. We're going to delve into this. You're going to love it. So with that, let me bring, hey, welcome.
Hi, Cheryl. Thanks.
So good. Yeah. Hey, I feel like we've been waiting for this for a long time, girl.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, yeah. All it took was to confine everybody across the nation to their homes, and here we are.
Yeah, here we are. Yeah, everything's a little shifted right now.
Yeah.
So it's all good. So I did want to go back because I had to go look it up. Explain to everyone, what is an ethnobotanist?
So an ethnobotanist is, I have kind of a melding of degrees. I look at cultural anthropology, I look at botany, and I look at where humans and plants kind of come together and what that relationship is. And that's how we use plants for food. That's how we use them for clothes, ceremony. And of course, I focus on both food and medicine. So using them to heal our bodies.
Yeah. So I think the one thing that jumped in my mind is because I've always had heard that it was important to buy honey local.
Mm-hmm.
But I hadn't thought about much beyond the honey aspect of it. But that's what you're saying, is you're looking at all of those things.
Yeah, so if you read something by me, I'm never going to just say this plant is for this problem. I'm always going to give you the whole story around it, because I'm a plant nut. So I'm going to tell you like its place in mythology and history, and all of the ways that people have used the plant around the planet, what kind of nutrition it has in it, what it's going to do for you. So I really look at the whole story.
Gotcha. So I just had one of those lovely pop-ups right in the middle of our thing. Okay. Yeah. No, I think that's great. And I think that understanding that and allowing people to tap into it, but I know that that's how you're doing a lot of your formulations, right?
Yeah. I think it informs what makes me different. What makes my formulas different is that I understand the plant, but I understand the plant in the whole system. And I'm not just looking at it as a healer, because I don't actually believe that the plant is a healer in all by itself. I think there's a lot more that goes into it. But that also couples my educational background goes together with my own personal history and how I got to where I am. And that is that I had my own health crisis. I had my own health issue when I was diagnosed as being infertile. And so the work that I do now and everything that kind of comes out of it is trying to show people what that means to kind of build your body stronger and think about that on a day-to-day basis. What does health look like, rather than what do we use when we have disease X? And I feel like a lot of the health conversations that we have these days are just like right now, oh my goodness, there's a virus going around. What are we going to cure the virus? And while we want to keep people alive, I just feel like once again, we're having the wrong conversations. And I was so excited that you wanted to talk about your work with looking at the family and looking at these conversations and making connections for a longer term, for a bigger picture. Really fits with what I believe here. We can't just have a conversation about, oh crap, the world's gone off the rails. What do we do now? Like, that's not the time. Everybody runs around panicked, and you don't have the right herbs, and you don't have the right food. And right now you're locked in your house and you don't have those things. So if you haven't been thinking about that in advance, if you haven't been thinking about that all along, it's impossible not to be panicked and scared.
Yeah. And I think that's a lot of what this is about, right? Because it's like, when you're in the middle of a 911, it's really hard then to put a plan in place.
Yeah.
And so the idea is to get the 411 going with all the information. So the next time you have it, then 911, you're prepared. So I do want to say, I think everybody in this time and space, like, we're all going to be fine and, get through it, obviously, but now's the time to start thinking about, because we don't want to always move into fear mode every time something happens like this, right?
Yeah.
So I know one of the things we just really want to talk, how do you bulletproof your family? And I know you've got some specific things. We could probably do a 3-hour show and not cover like even remotely close to what but just like, if you're going to get real basics to families about where they might start.
Well, I took it down to my experience. So what was critical when I needed to start all over again, when I needed to build a body. And so I came up with 5 things, and I can unpack them. But number 1 is banish the fake. And that really, that goes into food, it goes into body care, it goes into cleaning. So anything, it seems an odd comment to make about cleaning supplies, but if a lot of our cleaning supplies are actually designed to fool us into thinking like an air freshener. It messes with your brain. It's a psychological screw. It's not that the air is cleaner. It's that it's designed to fool your brain into telling your body that you're sensing something. So it's fake. It's fake. It's not reality. So banish the fake, and that really starts to tear down a lot of what people have built up in their houses and what they've encased themselves in. Number 2 is ID the weaknesses. That is not to say like let's say we have somebody in our house that's got allergies, and it threatens, they might have an allergy attack and they might not be able to breathe. And I don't believe that we should jettison all prescriptions. I think you have something there if you need it to keep that person from dying, because that's a good thing. But you don't stop at that. We have gotten complacent because Western medicine, we've gotten very dependent on it. And, we have a prescription, so good, we're done. We don't have to think about that anymore. And when a virus hits your family, if you have just accepted a prescription or an over-the-counter solution, and it's just a Band-Aid that's applied to that wound, you're not actually stable. You're not actually healthy. You're just managing the problem. So you have to go beyond the prescription. You have to Yeah.
I want to bring this up here because, I came to you not too long ago and I said, hey, I have a son who has allergies and he's had them like forever and he's doing, over the counter medications or whatever, but it's just so hard on his own immune system. So, I know I got some stuff from you, right? That's called allergy.
Yeah, the allergency.
Yeah. And he's been doing great with it. And, and it's so good because now I know his immune system isn't constantly being suppressed or, not being able to work fully because he's not on all these medications and stuff. So anyway, but just grateful because obviously I want him to be as healthy and as strong going through this time and space as well. Right. So.
Yeah. The process of identifying your family's weaknesses or your own weakness requires that you actually know the bodies that you're dealing with. So for me to understand what my weakness was in my infertility, I had to understand my body. So you have to spend some time. You have to spend some time with each body that you're responsible for in a family, or if it's just yourself, you have to understand it. What is this individual setup like? What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? And what are the things that I need to bolster? And until you do that, you're weak. You're not as strong as you could be. And just stopping yourself from dying and continuing on. I hear from a lot of people that are like, well, I had this surgery and I just had that organ removed. So I don't have any problems anymore, except these other problems that I want to talk about, that are totally related, but they don't see them. You have to go back and understand what the weaknesses are, even if you've had a surgery to remove an organ, even if you have a prescription that is stopping you from dying. If you really want to bulletproof yourself or your family, you have to begin to go back to where is the organism running at optimal and how do I get there? Because that's the goal. If your body is running, and this goes into, we could talk forever on this, but everything that I do comes from an understanding of how the plants operate in the natural world. And in the natural world, when plants are less than nourished, if they're missing a particular vitamin or mineral that they need to operate optimally, that's when they're attacked by fungus or an insect or a bacteria or a disease. And it's the same in humanity. Yeah. It's when we have a weak spot that we are signaling out we're prime for colonization. And that's what we don't want to do. We want to signal that we're solid and we're standing there and we're able to withstand. And that's not to say, of course, we call this bulletproof. And it's hard to find a word that really works here. But if you do all of this, your family's still going to get sick. Yeah. Getting sick is not something to criminalize or to be ashamed of. I saw people that like, oh, if I got diagnosed with the virus, I'd be so ashamed. And we're setting this weird place up in our world. If you get sick, that's a part of nature. But your goal is to get sick and adapt beyond it and to survive it and to have a minimal reaction. So this isn't going to keep your family from ever getting sick because that's not healthy.
One of the things I remember talking with someone about, and I'm sure you're going to agree with this, but like they were talking about, the second my son or daughter has a fever, they want to give them something to take it down.
It makes me crazy.
A fever is a sign of health. A fever is your body doing exactly what it's intended to do to protect you. And yeah, I was kind of like the same way, but I think a lot of people just think, oh, a fever's bad.
Yeah.
Fever is actually the sign that your body's working.
Yep.
Right.
This what I teach my students about that, and it's fever or swelling or anything that the body does that signals that it's protecting you. It's like seeing an accident on the freeway and calling for help. And the emergency squad pulls up and everybody in the cars around get out and beat the snot out of the emergency crew with baseball bats. Like it's not logical. Oh my gosh, we need help, and help has arrived, and then we beat the snot out of it. It doesn't.
Oh my God, that's like the best
how we see fever. But that's how we see fever and swelling and inflammation. We just don't understand it. the body turns those things on and it turns it off. When we get into imbalance, the body often turns things on and can't shut them off, or they can't turn it on to begin with. And it's that balance of push pull that we want to lift up. And that's, you mentioned my allergency product. That's probably, I think, I've been thinking a lot lately because we're redesigning our website and really thinking more with how things are changing, how we adapt. And I've been thinking about why my products are different. And it's because I'm not trying to fix your problem. There are immediate results, but I am trying, my goal with the formulations are to help your body to heal itself long term. It's this bulletproofing idea that I'm going for in every product that I put together, because I believe in this.
What that sounds like to me is that we don't really achieve health, we allow it. Right? Yeah. And we allow our bodies to do the amazing things that our bodies are intended to do.
We get out of the way. We stop digging. So, you know, that old adage, if you're in a hole, the first thing to do is put down the shovel. You know, so many people keep digging.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you? Oh gosh, ouch, that hurts. You know, bang, hit me again with the hammer. Well, stop it. If that food is making you sick, don't eat it. It's really simple. That's another whole conversation.
Okay, so number one, we have, I just want to recap for somebody joining us. We have the number one thing is to banish the fake, and you're talking about that in all aspects of, you know, our food, but also even our cleaning products and everything we do in our homes and so forth. And then we have ID the weaknesses, which was what we're talking about now, is how do we ID those to know where our bodies have those weaknesses so that we can start to build those things up, which allows our body then to optimally achieve health. So what is number three?
Number three, I put as start a garden. There are a lot of things when you put together a complete protocol for somebody who wants to heal, wants to truly heal. There's a lot to this. You can't just give somebody a herb and say, oh, there, you're going to magically be all better. You can grow an herb, you can eat an herb, and it's not enough. So start a garden kind of encompasses a lot of that whole protocol for the family. We really, to be wholly healthy, we need our mental, our physical, our emotional, our spiritual. All of these things need to be balanced and aligned. And for me, gardening is a great place for the whole family to begin to get that. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, obviously we're growing our own vegetables, and that is wonderful. That's a great place to start for a healthy family. But my kids, in our garden, we have a series of raised beds, and my kids each get a raised bed for themselves. Mm-hmm. And they can plant whatever they want in it, and they have to tend it. They have to pull the weeds. They have to make sure it's watered. They have to make the choices, and they get to harvest it and eat it and contribute it to the family. And that sense of accomplishment, we've robbed our kids of that so much, mm-hmm. because we've decided that they aren't capable of things. And I expect really high. I don't fault them when they don't come up here, but I want them to reach, because mm-hmm. a lot of times they come up to it. And when they do, oh my gosh, you can see kids swell with like, look what I did. Mm-hmm. That's mental health. And we are not giving that to our kids. We're not giving that to our adults. But that mental health is critical to couple with all the other things that we're talking about. Good food that's raised, working together as a family for a garden, digging in the soil is mental and emotional work. We're seeing so much with the gut bacteria and all of that, with putting our hands in the dirt and being out in nature and physically moving our bodies. The garden just kind of encompasses all of that together. And you can do that regardless of how much space you have. We can do that in a window box. We can do that under a light table in the garage. You can do it if you have 100 acres. It's all possible to do something gardening to affect that work in the family, that we're building a more complete protocol for health.
Right. Well, yeah, and just to get connected again, right? And you know how important that is to me, because obviously we're going to open the farm. It's about getting connected to nature, to beauty, to animals.
Yep.
But all that connection, we're missing that, right? And we walk around. I go out in my backyard sometimes, and I just take my shoes off, and right, because we're so disconnected from our earth, which really is the vibration that we need to be receiving in that spiritual connection. So I think gardening, yeah, is beautiful, right, for that reason.
Spiritual. There's the wonder. Going outside and looking at the tiny structure of a flower for 15 minutes. Wow.
Yeah.
We don't do that because everything's been decided, everything's been found. It's all, we can just science, and science is really antiseptic.
Yes.
At least the way we're practicing it right now, because the belief of science, the religion of science, where you believe in it, you don't question. Science is questioning. So my science is constantly in wonder.
Yes.
So number 4 would be, I titled Learn How to Make Bone Broth. Bone broth is a great place to start to build health. And really this in a wider category would be begin to learn traditional cooking methods. We have the garden, we have the fresh fruits and the fresh vegetables. That's wonderful. But if we don't know how to cook it and we don't understand traditional methods, it's not just coming inside and mixing up some flour. We need to understand souring. We need to understand what it means to cook with the appropriate fats. Because if you don't do that, a lot of our nutrition gets really difficult to absorb. And from a real basic, if you don't eat the right nutrition and your body isn't capable of absorbing what you're actually bothering to put in, you don't feed your organs.
Right.
And your organs struggle and you have dysfunction and imbalance. It's really simple. We critically need to not only eat well, but we need to understand what's going on in our digestion, and we need to understand that there are techniques that are critical that we needed to learn from grandma that allow us to absorb the nutrition appropriately.
Yeah, good. I want to share over here, Joyce Kavanaugh.
Hi, Joyce.
She says, gonna start that garden this spring. Thanks for that kickstart.
Yep. Yep. It's anybody can do it. You can start with just a little bit of greens. Greens come up fast. It's immediate excitement. You can see your results really quick, and instant gratification is what I was going for.
Yeah. So back to this bone broth, just define that for me just a little bit more, what you mean by that. Learn how to make bone broth. So
bone broth is one of those traditional cooking methods that we've lost our way with, and there are a lot of them. I mentioned sourdough is another one. On my Facebook feed, you can see my sourdough loaf for today. And
Judy's always on her way, I feel like, to pick up her sourdough bread from you.
Yes.
Yes.
Bone broth taps into sort of my other kind of overarching beliefs in that we need to be using the whole animal. If we're eating animals, it needs to be the whole animal, everything in that. We need to respect that creature's sacrifice for our energy. So we don't just eat the chicken legs and have like really yummy fried chicken and then toss everything else away. We need to eat the organ meat. The bones go into the water and with a little acid, and it pulls out that deep nutrition. We don't get that without bone broth. Stock is not the same. And bone broth is foundational to heal our gut. And if you want to talk pandemics, what we really have a pandemic of is digestive issues. And we talk in this current problem, there are so many people that are in the high risk category. It's because they haven't ID'd the weakness in their families. They aren't shoring up those issues. They've been satisfied with a prescription that have kept them from dying, and they stopped there. And they are prime for being picked off by something. Yeah. Bone broth is a way to build up the digestion. Digestion is critical. It begins to heal the insides of our digestive tract. The collagen that we get in that builds. There are a million other principles there and all kinds of things that we get along with the nutrition that comes out of that, anti-inflammatory. And it's the first step for me with anybody that is struggling with digestive issues.
Okay.
It's critical, and it's
So
something that I teach all the time.
So we have banish the fake.
Yep.
And that's food and products. We have ID the weaknesses, which we're talking about a lot as this weaves through there. This is like the overarching theme, right?
Yeah.
Start a garden, which is
Yep.
beautiful. Like, in fact, we're doing some family connection challenge stuff, and I think I'm going to add that in. Start a garden.
Cool.
Yeah, perfect. And then learn how to make bone broth is number 4.
Yeah.
And so just to recap for people, and then number 5 is?
Number 5 is learn how to make your own ferments. Fermented food at home is your probiotic. We need to have living bacteria. We need to have a very diverse environment in our gut. And so making our own ferments is a great, easy way for the family to keep that going.
Okay.
And I should add to the garden, because my husband would kick me if I forgot to mention it, because it's one of my driving themes. Don't just plant food, plant medicine and food together. Okay. Your garden is the place to begin to put that together. We have lost that connection on our plate. So start it in the garden. Your medicine should be in the same rows as your vegetables.
Gotcha. No, that's great. This is beautiful. So fermented food, how to, like, on your website, because I know we're going to share that here in a second, which is dawncombs.com, and I'll throw it up here on the screen in a second too. There's like ideas about the gardening, about how you ferment food, about the bone broth. Is that all coming?
It's all coming. I hate to be like that, but I've spent so much time over the past 10, 15 years writing for everybody else, writing for magazines, writing my books, traveling around, and developing my product. And I've known for a couple years that I really need to develop online classes. I need to be writing on my own blog. I need to be doing a podcast. And I just couldn't figure out where to begin, because I have so much that I want to say. So much.
Tell me, what do you think? Because I've been in your place. Cute, such an adorable place, and I know right now it's not functioning the way you want it to.
But there's nobody there but my husband.
Okay, good. So that's perfect.
We're open.
What do you think? Like, what's like one of your favorite products? I mean, my favorite right now, obviously, is the Allergency, because it's working for my son, and I'm so grateful. But what other product, like, if it was, would you want to share that you think people would should just absolutely know about?
Oh my goodness!
I know.
That's so hard. And it just
favorite.
I just ask which baby of yours you love. I've created them all and put them out into the world.
Okay, one that you think right now would probably benefit the most in this.
A lot of people are looking at the WellFast right now. That's our elderberry formula. I have the WellFast, which is just our typical WellFast formula we've had on the market for 10 years. And I just added an autoimmune option for that. So it's WellFast AI. We have high vitamin C syrups that are great. We have a ginger syrup for antiviral. Fire cider is amazing. I love people to go after the digestive formulas. Okay. So the fire cider, the bitters, the Tummy Love formula, which is a digestive balancer. You can't fix anything if your digestion is messed up. I am adding classes online. I'm doing more Zoom meetings. This current virus that came out here in 2020 has kind of kicked my butt in gear, because I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and I got tangled up in doing it the right way and having the videos done the right way, and right lighting and right equipment. And I was so caught up in that for so long that I was choked. Yeah. And I get worried about whether I would be enough, and why would anybody, what do I have to say that's valuable? And I really it has to be really important before I say it. And it has to be perfect. And so I didn't say anything. And now there's this huge backlog, and I'm spending all my time right now we're doing a digestive series that is going to be video and workbooks and at home, so you can figure out where you are and where do I begin? Because that's the thing, getting your agency back. You can go to every website known to man
and they're screaming about what you should do. But at the end of the day, what you should do is what is right for you. You have to be the expert. So
Right.
our website, dawncombs.com, it's switching over right now. Our website is being built up to teach people how to be their own expert.
Yeah.
I'm going to teach them, but it's up to you.
So to ID those weaknesses, right?
Yes.
I mean, you even ID those and all of that. So anyway, like this is so much amazing information. And if anybody wants to continue to reach out to Dawn, it's Dawn Combs. It's DAWNCOMBS.com. I spell it out, not because if you're watching it, you can't read, but because it will eventually be a podcast and somebody's not getting to see it. But, I thank everyone who was here today for this. But if anybody has questions, please go ahead and ask, because we could even answer them after the show. The streams continues. And so as far as the flow of questions, so if there are any, you can do it there. We welcome that. And, I guess one of the things we try to do with the show is leave everybody with a drop of thought. And I know you have a whole bunch of drops of thought, obviously, and you've already gone through a lot of them. But if you were going to give them that one big parting thought, words of wisdom.
The one that I say the most often is we need to approach the natural world and the things that we can't control with respect, not fear. We approach plants that are potentially dangerous with respect, not fear. We approach viruses with respect, not fear. Fear paralyzes. Respect shows that there's something to be wary of and to plan and to think ahead. But we're active. We still have agency. We're still able to move within that. Respect is very different than fear. And I see a lot of fear, and I hate that. I hate to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. We are in some unique times, and weaved into that is so much opportunity. And I think right now your message, right, like what I feel like, even like with the family stuff, like right now people are going to hear it that maybe wouldn't have heard it before. So there's the silver lining, right, that gets to weave in.
Yeah. I'm definitely turning a lot of the positives here. I will say you can keep in touch with me on my Facebook pages too. I'm on Soda Pharm Cafe and Facebook and Instagram. And that's the easiest place. And if you text 66866, that will allow you to sign up for my email list. And that gives you a lot of insider information too.
Yeah. And I also want to make sure that when the Soda Pharm Cafe, again, the farm is PHARM for those.
Yes.
So anyway, thank you everyone who joined us today. Thank you for sharing. I so want to have you come back, because we're just scratching the surface. So I would love to have you come back on the show. We can, there's so many different things we could talk about. But anyway, for those of you watching, I always close the show by just saying that ripples don't flow in, they flow out. And if we really want to see change out in the world, it's going to start with us in our own homes, around our own kitchen tables, with our families. Thank you for being here. And until next time, stay well and be safe.